Oh, welcome. It's your man, God of Dots. We are back. We are back. Hope everybody had a very good weekend. Hope you're having a very good start to your week. And we are here. We are here to break down the latest and greatest from the world of sports, namely the NFL. Give shouts out to those who have made themselves. Now, how you doing, Miss Teresa? How you doing, Miss Smurf? Hope you guys are having a very good weekend. Hope, hey, beautiful. You're here early. You're here early. Listen. Like I said, I hope everybody's having a very good start of your week, man. It's October, Halloween, trick or treating, all of that good stuff, man. It's almost the end of the year. Jesus, time flies, man. Jesus, time flies. But anyway, like I said, we're here to break down the latest and greatest. Wanted to kind of start up with the biggest news coming out of the world of the NFL today. New York Jets head coach. You saw the thumbnail. If you didn't know who the other guy was standing next to Aaron Rodgers, no worry. He's in the unemployment line. He's looking for a job like a lot of people in America. Robert Saleh has been canned by the New York Jets. After 3.5 years of being the head coach, Robert Saleh, formerly most notably known as a former defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, got the job in New York. And you know how it is if you've been watching the NFL for a very long time. You know the Jets job, the Jets franchise as a whole, with the exception of maybe something from the Rex Ryan years, not too much recent success with this team. Not that the team is overly terrible. Team was off to a 2-3 start this season, but something had to be done. Robert Saleh was one of those head coaches that was coming to the season already on the hot seat. How you doing, Dr. Nicky? Already on the hot seat. Yeah, we're gonna talk about them boys. We're gonna talk about them boys because I picked against them, and once again, it's that time of the season. You gotta determine who your team is. But we'll get to that in a second. But Robert Saleh, like I said, came in as one of the head coaches, is already on the hot seat. Him with the, I think Mike McCarthy's can be thrown into that kind of category. Guys that this season was very dependent on the win-loss record, how well the team went. And I think you hear a lot of people giving commentary today after he got fired, blaming him getting fired on his relationship with Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers usurping control of the team. Look, man, listen. The NFL is a little bit different than the NBA in regards to star power, star players, and that kind of stuff. But don't get it twisted. Robert Saleh was already on the hot seat. A 2-3 start is not the main reason he got fired. But if you watch the Jets this season, they left a lot to be desired out there on the field, namely on the offensive side of the ball. And as an owner, and and the general manager sit down and say, how can we shake up the dynamic of this team without having to bring in different personnel or trade draft picks or that kind of stuff? What do you normally see? When it's time to shake up the chemistry of a team. Sometimes you might see the star quarterback get benched if he's having a very bad start to the season, but the odds of you back, sending Aaron Rodgers to the bench was none, zero to none. Him being afraid of being put on the bench was never in question. But Robert Saleh, like I said, already came to the season on a hot seat. And listen, I'm not a fan. Justice for Robert Saleh. What's going on, Gator Girl? Listen, I'm not a fan of anybody getting fired, but in the grand scheme of things, I get it. I get it. He's the most when you look at the rest of the pieces that you could, possibly get away from. He's the most expendable piece. He's the most expendable piece in that equation when you're talking about getting rid of, personnel. You're not getting rid of Rodgers. That's not happening. You're not benching Rodgers. That's not happening. Maybe you move off the offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett. But if we were to believe the reports that you already had tension with your star quarterback, is that the move you want to make? And this, at the end of the day, the owner signs off on all of those decisions. It's not like the owner, Woody Johnson, and his ilk. They're not included in that process. They're the ones to say, hey, I'm good with it. Maybe taking counsel from the general manager, other team executives. But listen, Robert Saleh, I mean, to me, and now he's had a pretty good run in New York. all things considered, pretty good run considering the circumstances of not having a quarterback for a large chunk of the 3.5 years that he was, the head coach of the team. Listen, I get it. Somebody's got to go. You got to shake some up. Do you wait until, the team is 3-6, 3-5 before you decide, hey, we need to shake up the team, wake some of these guys up, whatever. Do you wait that long? Listen, 5 games in, you're only a game and a half back of the Buffalo Bills. So we'll talk about it a little bit later in the show. Listen, this is overall, Hackett should have been gone too. Listen, Gator Girl, I agree with you. But Nathaniel Hackett has gotten the Aaron Rodgers rub. You got a head coaching job, which you didn't deserve, out there in Denver, because they thought, you was going to be able to bring in Aaron Rodgers. They thought it was a package deal. That didn't happen. You got put up out of there. You got the offensive coordinator job in New York, basically because of Aaron Rodgers. Your offense, and when I say your offense, like, you have pieces on the offensive side of the ball, but the play calling is I'm gonna be honest with you, high schoolish, high schoolish at best. It's no creativity. Oftentimes if you watch a Jets game, or watch highlights of a Jets game, a lot of times this team is in a lot of third and long. When I mean third and long, anything over 3 and 5, third and 5, anything over 5 yards is long. But no run game, no creativity with the run game. You have guys in that backfield. You have talent in the backfield. If you was able to kind of scheme them open up the playbook. Aaron Rodgers, to me, looks like a statue. Not too many rollouts, not too many ways of getting him out of the pocket. It's very very mediocre, offense when you watch them play. And the defense has played well this season. The defense has played well enough for this team. Even in the losses, the defense has played well enough for this team to win. And if you think about it, you had a chance to beat the Broncos. Despite what the offense put out there, you had a chance to beat them. You also had a chance against the Vikings, who you lost. And we'll talk about the Vikings a little bit later, who remain undefeated. You had an opportunity. You was driving. Just think you came up short. So the defense, now that's part of the reason why the defensive coordinator got promoted to the head coaching position. I think he, if you're going to replace him, you're going to replace the head coach. I'm leaning towards the defensive coordinator because his unit is playing much better than that. Can you imagine Nathaniel Hackett being promoted to the head coaching? Oh God. And I hear you, Gator Girl. Ownership is trash. I mean, the Jets is this one of those franchises that this never seems. I hope they don't win it. I hope they don't win another game. Listen, tell us how you really feel, Gator Girl. Tell us how you really feel. Hope they don't win another game. Listen, you're only game and a half back of first place in the AFC East. And I will say this before we kind of get into the breakdown of the rest of the games from this past weekend. Listen, is it me? Is it me, or has this season felt kind of weird? In the fact that outside of maybe the Kansas City Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings and probably the Detroit Lions, I can kind of throw into that mix. It's kind of like every week is a toss up. You don't know what you're gonna get. It's so much. I wouldn't even call it. Is it parity, the word I really want to use, or is it just this like level of mediocrity and inconsistency that I'm not used to seeing this early in the season? And when from week to week, you got to change. Like I said, outside of those probably 3 teams, maybe include the Baltimore Ravens in there. Now that they've kind of gotten their mojo back, nobody kind of is like distinguishing themselves as far as ready to be considered one of the elite teams in the NFL. You have teams that's off to some good starts. Looking at you Texans, looking at you Commanders, but this season, I don't know. To me, it just seems weird. This seems off. It's hard to pick them. I mean, when you look at the schedule from week to week, it's hard to pick because it's like it's no real separation between a lot of these teams. It's not. Speaking of separation, let's go ahead and separate from the Jets story and move on with the rest of the breakdown of the week in the NFL. First of all, I want to shout out to a brother of a certain age. Listen, I got the memo, man. I have to start the Thursday show a little bit earlier than I want to because I was missing out on a good one. This past week was missing out on a good one. Tampa Bay goes down in OT to the Atlanta Falcons. Great game. And when I look at the Bucks and I look at the Falcons, both teams standing there at 3-2. It's a lot to like from both teams. It's a lot to like from both teams. And if I'm gonna be honest with you, out of both teams have looked very, very good. Look like upper echelon teams in the NFC this year. I think Atlanta is starting to figure it out on the offensive side of the ball, what kind of team they want to be. I think Kirk Cousins is getting more and more comfortable in that offense. He's able to take advantage of the weapons that they do have. You look over to the other side of the ball. Tampa Bay also offenses look very, very good. Baker Mayfield look like he's ready to have another Pro Bowl-ish type year. Man, it was a good one. I was missing out on it up here right in my mouth. So Thursday show will have a different kind of start time based on that, but it was a very, very good game. I walked away from it. Whether you was a Falcons fan or a Bucks fan or just a fan of football, you walked away from it feeling like, hey, I can see these teams fighting for something later on in the season, whether it be control of this division or possibly we talking about NFC playoff season. Because like I said, this has been one of them kind of weird years, man, especially in the NFC. Outside of the Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions, you got Washington Commanders. After that, it's a toss up. It's a crapshoot. You don't know who's who from week to week. Look at the New Orleans Saints. First 2 weeks of the season, offense looked unstoppable. Nobody could get them off the field. Drive after drive after drive was ending in points. Last 3 weeks, last straight 3 losses, offenses looked anemic. Doesn't even look like the same offense from the start of the season. And this is just that kind of a feel when we're talking about the NFL this season. This is it's weird. I can't really put my finger on. Congratulations to the Minnesota Vikings, who we talked about a little bit earlier in regards to the Jets holding on to win. Very, very close game. Sam Darnold still playing at a very, very high level. I think people are starting to come around to how good this Vikings defense really is. Brian Flores is doing a fantastic job, and I know he was the head coach formerly of the Miami Dolphins. Some stuff happened. Is he going to be? If the Vikings keep playing at this level, especially the defense keep playing at this level, I think you have to, own NFL ownership. I know you feel some kind of way about, the Brian Flores situation. And for those who don't know, he was filing complaints against his former employer, saying that they wanted him to do this, and in a roundabout way said they wanted him to lose and tank. I don't know. Brian Flores is coaching his way back into an NFL head coaching job, and like I said, he did a very good job. In Miami, all things considered, but the Minnesota Vikings continue to be undefeated. Like I said, Sam Darnold is playing at a Pro Bowl level, and Minnesota, you're going to have to make a very difficult decision at some point this season if Sam Darnold keeps playing like this. Mind you, Sam Darnold is not on a multi-year deal. Sam Darnold is on a 1-year deal. Able to negotiate for an extension, multi-year extension. Minnesota, you're gonna. I don't think anybody has Sam Darnold playing this well coming into the season. A lot of people was picking if JJ McCarthy, the rookie they drafted out of University of Michigan, if he wasn't already the starter by now, he would be. I'm Minnesota, you're gonna be in a tough spot. It is a beautiful spot to be here because you got a quarterback who's playing at a very high level. Your team is winning. Team looks good on both sides of the ball, and that's a very nice problem to have. But do you keep Sam Darnold? Do you offer him the long-term money? I mean, can you really say if you would be 5-0 with JJ McCarthy in there? I don't think so. There's something that's kind of keep an eye on that. Sam Darnold's contract situation in Minnesota. That's a ongoing storyline to kind of keep an eye on. Also, when we're talking about keeping an eye on, Baltimore has seemed like they've gotten it together. Have a come from behind win against the Cincinnati Bengals. And listen, Cincinnati is right now sitting at 1-4. But outside of the defense, which has been bad for Cincinnati, Cincinnati's offense doesn't look like a typical 1-4 team. This team look like they're able to score on anybody. They can get up and down the field on anybody. Run game leaves a lot to be desired. It's not as productive as it was in years previous with Joe Mixon leading the pack, but Cincinnati doesn't look like the typical 1-4 team. And the way the NFL has been this season, you could possibly see Cincinnati when you look at the rest of their schedule for the next 5 to 6 weeks. You could be looking at a Cincinnati Bengals team that is currently 1-4. They could be, possibly sitting over 500 by the time we get to like week 9 or week 10. I'm just saying. But congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens for finally getting it together. Baltimore. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a game I felt like they should have lost. I'm gonna be honest with you. I felt like this is a game should have lost. Defense was getting lit up. Had no answer for Joe Burrow, who was cooking. Throughout this game, it took some heroic efforts by Lamar Jackson. Kind of playing the Superman role. They got away from the dominant run game that had been running because they needed to. And Lamar Jackson had needed to have one of those games. And we talked about that last week when we were talking about, upper echelon quarterbacks. Hey, if you one of them dudes, you got to be dependent on to bring home at least 3 to 4 games on your back. Here you go hating on Baltimore. Listen, it's no hate. Get it, girl. It's no hate for Baltimore. Baltimore's my Super Bowl pick. Come on. I mean, but let's be honest. They had no business being down like that. And Baltimore defense, that was the worst they looked all year. That's the worst they looked all year. I mean, Joe Burrow was slicing them up. I'm not a hater. That's my Super Bowl pick. That is still my Baltimore. Still my Super Bowl pick. Baltimore has kind of turned the corner after the first couple of games and gotten it together. But don't rest on your laurels. This is, like I said, this is one of them crazy NFL seasons from week to week. You don't know who's running things, and it's a lot of inconsistent teams right now. Whether they have a winning record or not, it's a lot of inconsistent teams as far as playing. Like I call winning football. We had this same discussion last year when we was talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, and don't worry, Eagles fans, I got to throw a shot at you. Even though they was undefeated, they was riding high. We're winning. Yeah, but it's a lot of that smoke and mirrors, and a lot of that is it's not sustainable winning football. I'm just saying, Baltimore defensively got to get it together, man. Got to get it together. Because Joe Burrow was willing and dealing. I'm gonna be honest with you, was willing and dealing. Overtime, I didn't like the play calling from Cincinnati. It seems like he got a little too conservative for me. Just like they're 1-4. But if you look, listen, get it, girl. Let me pull. Matter of fact, let me pull up the Bengals schedule for the rest of the year. Well, not even the rest of the year. Let's put their schedule for the rest of this season. You got to go at Giants, winnable game. You got at Browns, with the way Deshaun Watson is playing, winnable game. You got the Eagles at home, could be a winnable game. Eagles have not been wowing anybody. You got a Raiders team comes in the week after that seems like they're falling apart from the inside out. Yeah, winnable game. So you're talking about a team that is currently 1-4. By this time, we get to the Bengals Raiders game, could be a 500 team. I mean, then you got to go at Baltimore. You've shown that you can hang with Baltimore. Listen, they've got a very, very, I want to say, easy schedule. I wouldn't call any of those wins, but those are very winnable games. Those are very winnable games. When you look at how the offense has got to play, though, you can win those games. So I listen. I get it. You're not a fan. I get it. Um, but Cincinnati is not out of it, and that's like the crazy part of the NFL this season. Like 1-4, in most typical years, it means hey, odds of you making the playoffs is slim to none. But the way this season's have kind of played out, 2 or 3 games, Cincinnati's right back at 500. In a very down AFC and NFC when you look at the schedule. But moving on from that, but once again, congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens to take care of business. I also want to say congratulations to the Houston Texans. Right now sitting at 4-1, taking care of business. Buffalo, this is a game that shouldn't have been that close, but I understand. You have your top deep threat playmaker, Nico Collins. I'm talking about the Houston Texans wide receiver. He gets hurt. Hamstring, doesn't return to the game. Josh Allen looked very trash. I'm just going to be honest with you. Looked very trash this past weekend. Wasn't able to really kind of move the ball through the air. Ground game was okay. But it had no business being that close. Texans. This is, when you got a team like this that is down, that is playing a very inconsistent football right now. You want to be one of those upper echelon teams, you got to learn how to smash on these guys. You got to learn how to smash on these guys and not let them back into the ball game. But this Buffalo, you might be in trouble. You might be in trouble. Started out 3-0, and there was people was heaping praise on you. 2 losses, and you're in a dog fight in the Monday night game against a Jets team that's going to come in very motivated, looking for something to prove. It's not, they're only a game and a half back. Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do, Buffalo. I heard a lot of noise the first couple of weeks of the season. Talking about, we don't need Stephon Diggs, and Josh Allen is that dude. Eventually, teams learn to scheme on the talent that you do have out there, and the talent you do have at the wide receiver position. It ain't on the same level. It ain't on the same level. You don't. Most teams don't lose their 2 top receivers, and continue to just hum along. What's going on, Triggs? What's going on, Speak? You just don't continue to just hum along, playing like that. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And Buffalo is kind of feeling the effects right now of not having a consistent number 1 receiver out on the field. I like Keon Coleman, but he's got a lot to learn if he wants to be considered a number 1 receiver. Buffalo's underachieving too. Yeah, I mean, but if Gator Girl, listen, the entire, for the most part, outside of maybe about 5 to 6 teams, maybe about 5 to 6 teams, the league by itself is underachieving. Speaking of underachieving, I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way since I know you're waiting on it. Cowboys win a very very ugly game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. 20-17. Cowboys now sitting at 3-2. I picked the Steelers in this one just for the simple fact I was not liking how the offense is played for the Dallas Cowboys this season, and it kind of showed his ugly head here against a very good Steelers defense. You're talking about you had 3 turnovers, 2 of them, I believe. I'm pretty sure was down in the red zone. So you're talking about not only not getting touchdowns on drives and not finishing out drives with touchdowns, you had 2 red zone turnovers, and you walk away with no points. When you look at how both teams was playing offensively, Cowboys was able to kind of get drives going, but wasn't able to really put up the points that they left a lot of points out on the field. Pittsburgh defense played as well as they could play, but I expect changes along the offense. Justin Fields, I've been a fan of his since he's coming to the league, but I think it's time to kind of give Russell Wilson a look. This team needs to kind of open up the playbook, and I think Russell Wilson allows them to kind of open up. So it's talks that he possibly could be starting on Sunday. But Cowboys, Cowboys fans, listen, on Twitter is bad. Because you would think that we won the Super Bowl. Like, look, man, you guys watching the same game that I'm watching. Drives not being finished, turnovers in the red zone. It's a lot of the same issues we had this year, we had last year. I know you can't be settled. Yeah, but we won. Yeah, but that's not winning. That's not winning football because you can't play, and you'll get a chance this season. I think Detroit's up on the schedule real soon. You get a chance to see. Hey, you have turnovers in the red zone. Some teams are not the Pittsburgh Steelers where they're turning those turnovers into 3 points. They're turning them into 7, and you mess around and get blown out. You know, playing like that. I'm still kind of, this is one of them seasons. I mean, they're 3-2, winning record, but it leaves a lot to be desired for me as a Cowboys fan. If you're a Pittsburgh fan, I think you got to be very happy. Yeah, you lost, but you got to be very happy where your team is at and where your team is kind of sitting in regards to the pecking order in the AFC. You're in a position to still, not only compete for the division, but possibly make a deep run into the playoffs. You have a very good defense, very high level defense in Pittsburgh, very good front seven. You got to get better quarterback play, better offensive play. Teams got to be able to, kind of like when we talk about the boys, start settling for threes and get sevens. I'm just saying. Much to be desired. Cowboy fans are so unserious. Listen, Gator girl, just let a player live. I mean, we won, but listen, I'm the first to say what's going on, Ghost Man. I'll be the first to say, listen, I'm not satisfied with the performance. It leaves a lot. Listen, you had two drives end off in the red zone with two Dak turnovers in the red zone. Drives that were potentially leading to 7. You walk away with nothing. I don't know. I can't listen. That's my team, Gator Girl. That's my team. I can't all out bash them, but yeah, it leaves a lot. Yeah, you won. And you can highlight. Yeah, we did this, and the defense played well, but albeit it's against a Pittsburgh offense that's not really a threat right now to kind of put the ball in the air, stretch the field. It's not that kind of a team. We win a game like this, say against the Detroit Lions, we're having a different kind of conversation, but I'll take it. I'll take it, but yeah, I'm not liking what I'm seeing. I'm seeing some of the same habits we had last year, same issues we had last year. We're having this year. Y'all boy, take it. They're not coming after this. Gator girl. And I wasn't going to even discuss this team this week because that's not even open for discussion. But congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars for finally winning. Trevor Lawrence puts up his best performance of the season, against a very game Colts team. He was out there without their starting quarterback, Anthony Richardson, who's out with a hip injury. Joe Flacco was out there doing his thing. That's the best Trevor Lawrence has looked. Your Elway has looked this season, Gator Girl. That's the best he's looked this season. And I was worried because we started out the show talking about Robert Saleh being out of here. I've been hearing rumblings that he was going to be, and I'm talking about your head coach with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Doug Peterson. He may be on the way out. If this team don't get it around, listen, Trevor Lawrence ain't going nowhere. Now with that contract he signed, he ain't going nowhere. The head coach will probably be gone. If this kind of trend continues, where this team is playing this poorly, does Doug Peterson make it through the season? I don't know. I mean, but I give you your props for, give you your time for the show. Hey, Jags finally win. Everybody give them a round of applause. Hope we on your way out the bud now. Hey, I mean, that's the best Trevor Lawrence has looked all year. That's the best he's looked all year. But it shouldn't have been a shootout. But hey, it is what it is. It's the NFL. 1-4. You guys are not completely out of it. I think you out of it for the division, but the way that the rest of the NFL has been playing, 1-4, a couple games here and there. You could be talking about Jacksonville being 500. I don't know. Speaking of, I don't know. Listen, I knew Washington was going to be much improved this season, but I didn't have them at 4-1. I did not have them at 4-1. Washington Commanders very dominant against a Cleveland team that is, does Cleveland have like the worst worst front office in the NFL right now. When you look at how even if you wanted to get rid of Deshaun Watson, all of that money is guaranteed, fully guaranteed. You're talking about he still has $100+ million still in fully guaranteed money. It's been talks in Cleveland that the team may be thinking about bringing Jameis Winston in if Deshaun Watson keeps playing at such a poor level. I get it. But I don't think the coaching staff is going to have the balls to say we're going to go with Jameis for the rest of the season because Deshaun Watson has looked bad. Ever since he's come back, Deshaun Watson has looked bad. And you can blame it on Russ, but that was last season. You blame last season on Russ. He looks he looks distracted to me. I don't know if it's with the ongoing legal situations that he's having and all of that kind of stuff. But Deshaun Watson, especially this season, has looked very distracted, very rushed, not very sure of the offense that they're running there in Cleveland. And it just showed. But I mean, where do you go if you're Cleveland? Do ownership is not cutting the dude? If I'm the head coach, I go listen. At this point, I'm going with Jameis. When you think back to last season, Cleveland played some of his best ball when Deshaun Watson was out. I'm just, you owe it to the rest of your team to put your best product out there. And right now, Deshaun Watson ain't it, man. Deshaun Watson, he has a contract. You couldn't get rid of him if you wanted to. Now with the amount of dead cap money and money that you owe him, it wouldn't be feasible. You killed your team's future. Mind you, it's not even a contract that's the biggest issue. The fact that you gave up 3 first-round picks on top of the fully guaranteed contract, that's what's really hurting you. Watts is cooked. Listen, I agree with you, Gator Girl. He's cooked. I tried to give him a chance coming to the season. I say maybe last season was him just shaking off the rust, but nah, he doesn't look comfortable out there at all. If you didn't know any better, Deshaun Watson looked like a second-year quarterback. Not like a guy that was, at one point in the MVP conversation in this league. He looks like a second-year quarterback who's seeing ghosts, who's seeing deer in the headlight. I don't know what's going on. In Cleveland, you're stuck with him. You're stuck with him. But enough about the Cleveland Browns, who lost. Kind of disappointed me. And Cleveland was one of my playoff team. But hey, this is early in the season. But watch the Commanders off to a 4-1 start. Jaden Daniels looking like the clear front runner for offensive rookie player of the year. And it's even talks of Jaden Daniels. And I know it's still early in the season, possibly being considered in those early talks when we're talking about MVP. Listen, he's played well. And I got to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff up there in Washington. Who has really tailored their game plan, tailored their offense to fit this young man's skill set, and is allowing him to be the playmaker that he is capable of being. He's got weapons on the outside. Offensive line does a pretty good job of protecting. Running game is pretty good, but Jaden Daniels, they're allowing him to be the special player that he is capable of being. And I can't be more excited for them. Like I said, give credit to that coaching staff for allowing this rookie to play to his strengths. And they got a very good thing. Washington ain't going nowhere, man. Washington is not going to. They got a very good team up there. It's not a flash in the pan type thing. To be 4-1 this point of the season, and some of the plays that this young man is making at the quarterback, they're here. They're here. Eagles fans, Cowboys fans, you need to take them serious. You need to take, listen, this ain't last year's Washington team. This ain't the Washington team for the last couple of years. This is a different kind of a team. They have a different kind of swag about themselves. Do not take this team lightly. Speaking of taking the team lightly, I think that's what happened to the San Francisco 49ers, who lose a very good game, with a close game against the Arizona Cardinals. San Francisco now sitting at a 2-3 record. I knew they was going to struggle without Christian McCaffrey and having some of those weapons, but man, this offense, outside of Brandon Ayuk, who had a very good game this past week, Deebo Samuel, Brock Purdy looks regular. Now he's still going to get paid, but he looks regular. He doesn't look like the guy that was right there, the MVP vote at the end of last year. He don't look like that dude. He don't look like that dude, and this is one of the concerns that teams had and analysts had, like myself. Hey, what was you going to look like when you don't have those all-world playmakers around you? Are you able to elevate your play? And to me, Brock Purdy has not elevated. He's played okay football. I was happy before to see the 49ers lose. Listen, a win is a win, a loss is a loss. 49ers, I think, is still going to be in the conversation as we kind of go through the season. I think they're just too talented to kind of fall completely to the wayside. But this team hasn't looked good. This team has not looked good thus far this season. And I'm looking at the quarterback because, it begins and ends with you. We heard so much hype about how Brock Purdy is this. He's the second coming of Brady. And he's able to make all the throws and the plays. And he was so much hype off the season that he had last year. And rightfully deserved praise. But you take some of those weapons away, how good of a quarterback are you? And we're seeing you're kind of middle of the road, Jack. Arizona, played a very good game, very tough game. Kyler Murray made plays when he's supposed to. Can he keep it up? Can he be consistent? We're kind of a wait and see, but 49ers, you got issues on your hands, man. You got issues on your hands. As we kind of wrap up the rest of the recap, Kansas City, as we talked about earlier, remains undefeated. Beating up on I don't know what kind of team the Saints have. First 2 weeks of the season look like world beaters. Look like the most unstoppable offense on God's green earth. Last 3 weeks, like they can't even get the engine to start no more. Car has come crashing back down to earth. Kansas City take care of business. 26-13, still undefeated. Probably the cleanest for me watching. It's probably the cleanest game that the Chiefs has played this season, as far as putting the team away that needed to be put away. And them alongside the Minnesota Vikings, two remaining undefeated teams. Kansas City, I'm seeing it, but I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more, and that's crazy when you say that about the two-time defending Super Bowl champions. But I would say between the Chiefs and the Vikings, I see the Vikings have looked the more impressive as the undefeated teams. I'm just saying. Other games before we kind of wrap up tonight's show. Giants big win against the Seattle Seahawks. Let's be honest with you, defense and special teams kind of got that one done for the Giants late. One like Daniel Jones was lighting it up. Packers hold on to win against a very game Rams team in that matchup, and I think Broncos smashed the Raiders. Broncos might have something out there, man. I know the defense is good, but they both Knicks might be on to something out there. He might be on to something. And in other news, before we kind of close out the night show, the Patriots, 1-4 start, and finally decided to start Drake May. Jacoby Brissett, has done a okay job at the starting quarterback position, not turning the ball over, but not really producing any noteworthy plays. Offense has been very, very, very bad as far as I want to say they're averaging about 12 points a game. Finally decided to go to the rookie. I think this is a right time to go ahead and bring him in. It's not like the Patriots are going to be threatening for a playoff spot with the squad that they have. Yes, talent wise, I mean, you are what you are at this point. You're in a rebuild under a first year head coach. Let him see what he has with his quarterback. Let him go ahead and get the reps in. He'll be the fourth starting rookie quarterback this season. Go ahead, let him get the reps in and see what you have. See what his strengths are, see what his weaknesses are, and see it in actual live NFL games instead of practice, and kind of go from there. So that's I like that move by the Patriots. Go ahead, see what he got, man. You're not going anywhere. You're not going to the playoffs. You're not going to the Super Bowl. See what you got with your rookie. You got 5 games in. He's had enough time to kind of sit, learn, see what he has. But anyway. Every win for the Giants is a big one. Yeah. Yeah. it is. 49ers were exposed. Yeah, to a degree, yeah. To a degree, with all the hype they was getting. But when you lose a Pro Bowl running back, offensive line ain't been all the way there. Your weapons have been kind of it took Ayuk to this his best game of the season. We're talking about 5 games in. Deebo Samuel's been kind of nicked up. George Kittle's been kind of nicked. Brock Purdy has not raised his level of play. I don't know if about exposed, but the veneer of being dominant is gone this season for sure. Definitely for sure. Make sure you guys tune in Thursday for the preview show. It will be early. Still working for some material for the KBK show on Friday. If we have something, we have something. If not, I'm open to ideas. I guess a little something, but I don't know if it's enough to stretch for a show. Y'all know me. But it's always like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave comments. You have any ideas, any topics you want me to kind of touch on? Listen, I do more than just football. I do basketball. I do UFC, KVK. Oh yeah, Spider-Man, KVK. The short for kickback before kickoff. Yeah, I just kind of shortened it up to KBK, man. So, I'm working on some stuff. I'm a part of me wants to kind of dabble with the politics and the sports. Part of me wants to kind of put that show together. But we'll see. We'll see. How I'm gonna, without making it too much to one side. I'm working on that one. Yeah, KBK, man. Yeah, I had to make it short, man, because I was getting tongue tied and twisted up here trying to remember the phrase. But okay. Yeah, but the KBK, maybe KBK on Friday. If you see the thumbnail, then that means I got enough material for a show, or got enough I can get up here and run my mouth for at least 20 to 30 minutes about. But we'll see. But Thursday show will be a little bit earlier, probably looking at about a 7:30 start time for the Thursday show. That way, I'm not missing out on the good. It seems like Thursdays has had some very good games so far this season, and I need to have my behind locked in and loaded and watch, because I was missing out on a good one last week up here right in my mouth, and I'm up here missing this Bucks Falcons game. But either way, you might be. Hey, be safe down there. Yeah, the girl, any other listeners, anybody in that area, go Kansas City Royals. I watched a little postseason baseball, namely, yeah, I watch a bit of the Mets game. I can't listen. I just be watching at this point. I be watching baseball. Just be watching baseball. I can't tell you who's the dominant team. I know players, but I can't tell you, who's trending this way or not. I like what I've seen from the Dodgers. Otana, man, 50-50. For those who don't know what I mean, when I'm talking about 50-50, have a year with at least 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. And again, listen, is he the best player, pure best player in football and baseball? Because I think about it, he didn't pitch this year, and he's a damn good pitcher. As Otana, is that dude? Yeah, get it, girl. Listen, I don't keep up with too much with baseball, but I know his name and I know his game. And he didn't even pitch this year. You talking about a guy that is MVP behind the plate, but is can be in the contention for Cy Young on the mound. Like, yeah. But if you're in the path of the hurricane, man, be safe. If they told you to get your behind out of town, get your behind out of town. It'll still, hopefully your home will still be there, your apartment still be there. But it's if you're able to get out, man, you able to get out, do so. And y'all be safe. But anyway, we'll be back Thursday. Maybe doing the show on Friday. We'll see. Let me get my behind up out of here. It's like I said, it's always a pleasure to take you. Thank you for taking the time out to listen to little old me. And on the side note, I'm watching. I'm watching. I'm quiet. I'm watching though. But get my behind up out of here. Yeah, but y'all be safe, man. Hopefully, you able to tune in for Thursday's show. Get a girl, and if you get have power, I would love for me and you to finish that NIL part 2. That you requested. I was kind of hesitant to kind of dabble into this past KBK, but yeah, I'll be waiting for that. I'll be waiting for that. It's about time you grace us with your presence and your gifted insight into the world of sports. But yeah, I'm up here just rambling at this point. Hey, y'all have a good night, man. Be easy, be safe, and as always, y'all know the phrase: sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.